Hi everyone, it's Myriam and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be days 5 to 7 of Inktober 2018. We've made it a full week and we've only got 3 weeks to go and a few days, I think. I hope that you're all doing really well, whether you're participating or not. I'm loving seeing everyone's work on Instagram. It's really a wonderful time of the year. I discover so many artists, it's really wonderful. But anyway, these are my days 5 to 7. Before I talk a little bit more in depth about the drawings, I just quickly wanted to remind everyone that the 25% off sale in my shop is ending in a few hours from the time this video will be uploaded. It finishes at 11 PM BST on the 7th of October, so make sure that you grab a print of any piece that you would like before the sale ends, because all the items written as last chance on my store will be retired permanently once the sale is over and will become unavailable, and then I'll be updating my shop with a bunch of new designs, including all my originals from this year's Inktober and prints of this year's Inktober's also. So the link is in my description below and patrons get 30% off. A really big thank you to each and every one of you that decided to buy something already through the sale on my shop. It's such a tremendous help, both financially and psychologically, and I can't thank you enough. I'm so deeply appreciative of your help. And another massive thank you for being so supportive and appreciative and just so lovely in your comments on YouTube and on Instagram during this 2018 Inktober, and understanding all my doubts and reassuring me. You're just so amazing, and I don't know how to say it enough, but I just wanted you to all know that I really appreciate it. And it's a tough year. It's been a very busy year. It's been a very exhausting year. I've had a lot going on and a lot of worries, and just knowing that I've got your support and your appreciation really means the world. So now let's talk a little bit about the drawings in this video. So this one in particular is day 5, and you may have noticed that the beginning was a bit fuzzy, and that's because I started out doing a completely different concept with this figure. I had an idea in mind and it just wasn't working out, and I was getting so stressed that I stopped filming, because it's a lot of stress and it's a bit of a constraint to have a camera behind you. So I needed to kind of get off screen in a sense, so I turned the camera off and I tried to get the idea to work, and it just wouldn't, and so I just left it for that evening. I didn't actually post anything on the 5th. I ended up being really burnt out and exhausted, and then we had a friend coming over, so I just decided to take the evening off, give myself a little bit of slack, and then start afresh again in the morning. So day 5 was a drawing that I started on the Friday the 5th and then finished on Saturday the 6th. I actually ended up painting everything around the figure black, just painting over my entire piece. There wasn't much drawn there anyway. It was just that I didn't know where to go with the concept I had in mind, and I just decided to do something different. So I just stared at the drawing for a while and came up with the idea that you ended up seeing, which I actually prefer to the original concept I had. So I might actually recreate the concept I initially had, but I just need to explore the concept a little bit more in Sketch, I think, first, and figure out how I'm going to be doing it. There's something really, one of the tricky things about working with brush pens and working with only 2 colors is that I had to think a lot more about composition and how things are going to stand out against each other without being confusing. And I found that really quite tough. So with paint it's easier because you've got different colors and values are easier to manage, but with something like just black and red, it's tougher. I find it more difficult especially because it's red brush pen and black brush pen, so the variation in values is a bit more difficult to achieve. But I might start using lavis and washes of ink in the future in those drawings. You'll see that I used a wash of ink on the background of this piece that I'm doing right now, and in the next piece, day 7 also, because I wanted to start having a mid value basically. I didn't want to just have the plain red and the plain black. It just felt so restrictive, and I'm not very good at just using flat colors. I'm not good enough at values to actually understand how to make them come across with only 2 flat colors, but it's one of those challenges I'm going to try and improve on during Inktober, because that's what it's all about. To all those of you asking in my previous video what I'm using, all the supplies are listed in the description below, so if you want to know what I'm using, what black ink I'm using, what white ink I'm using, what red ink it is, all that, it's all in the description below as always on all my videos. And so the piece that you see me drawing here is based obviously on a shadow theme, and when I was drawing it I was just getting loads more ideas featuring shadows, so I suspect that in the next few days you'll see a few more pieces featuring shadows because I just have a bunch of ideas regarding that concept. And I find that Inktober really benefits me when it comes to simplifying my ideas and kind of going for the first idea I have instead of overthinking it, basically, because I don't have the time. I have to do one piece a day, and generally when I do paintings I spend quite a few days sketching out composition and figuring out what other details I could put in and what could have an extra meaning, how I could change the composition so it's more efficient. Whereas for Inktober I just don't have the time to do that. I just have to do a drawing every day, and so it's really good at helping me simplify the way I think, and I think that's going to be beneficial in the long run in making me a bit more loose and relaxed about the way I work. And finally, this is the last piece, the day 7 piece that I did for this first week of Inktober. It's a concept I wasn't entirely sure how to draw, especially because of this value problem I spoke earlier about in the video, but I gave it a go and I'm not too unhappy with the result. As always, I love drawing hands, so I just had to do a piece with a bunch of hands, and I suspect it won't be the last one. I just have tons of ideas of hands. I really enjoy drawing them, and they are really tough, and I have to say that I still find them very, very hard, even though I practice them almost daily because it's just one of my favourite things to draw. But I promise you they are still one of the things I find the toughest to draw. That and feet. I find feet also very, very difficult. My brain doesn't want to understand how feet work, so I need to practice those a bunch more, I suspect. But actually I think that's also one of the advantages of working in ink, and especially brush pens. Is for some reason I get a lot of happy accidents, a lot more than when I used precise fine liners. I get a lot of curves that I didn't intend on making and just realised that actually they work really nicely. And so I'm kind of learning a lot about shape and the flow of lines and how to draw something more dynamic because of brush pens. And I think I'll probably try and integrate brush pens a little bit more in my sketching process in the future once Inktober is over. I find them a lot more difficult than fine liners to use, and I don't like my results quite as much as I like my results when I use fine liners, but I also prefer using them to some extent. They're not the easier option between fine liners and brush pens, but for some reason I find the result of brush pens more interesting and just more satisfying. There's something that comes from getting results that you're happy with a medium that you're not comfortable with that just feels energizing. And so I would really like to be able to get a better handle on brush pens so that I can start sketching with them in the future, because I just think they look really lovely and so clean and just minimalistic to some extent too. So I'll definitely be using the plethora of brush pens I bought years ago for Inktober and never used until this year in the future, hopefully in future sketches. And so I think that we are kind of nearing the end of this video. I'll be honest, doing 2 videos a week plus doing Inktober plus doing everything else that my job requires plus the sale, I'm really exhausted, and I think I'm gonna kind of cut this voiceover a little bit shorter than I would usually do. And so I'm gonna say goodbye now, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Also, I hope that you're all well, and whether you're doing Inktober or not, I hope that everything is going okay for you. If you are doing Inktober, I hope you managed to do this first week, and if you didn't, congratulations on any days that you did manage to get through, and don't give up and do a few more days in the month if you can. I hope you are enjoying this challenge, whether it's by just watching me doing it or by participating yourself. And again, thank you for being here, thank you for being lovely, and I'll see you very soon, in a few days actually, for my next batch of Inktober drawing. I love you all, take care, bye everyone.